How to make chocolate chip cookies. The ingredients you'll need today are a small mixing bowl, a large mixing bowl, 2 1/4 cups of flour, 2 large eggs, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 sticks of butter, a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1 cup white sugar, 1 1/2 cups of chocolate chips, 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract, and a mixer. What you're going to want to do first is preheat your oven to 350 degrees while you're mixing the ingredients. The first step we're going to do is we are going to mix our dry ingredients in the smaller bowl. So you'll take your flour, mix it in there with the salt and the baking soda. You're going to stir this mixture together, and after that you're just going to set it off to the side. Now in your large bowl you're going to combine your 1/2 cup of brown sugar. You're going to add 1 cup of the white sugar. You're going to add the 2 sticks of butter. Then you're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract to your sugar and butter combination. With this, we're going to mix this together and then add the eggs in. So you're going to take your electric mixer. You're going to want to just start it off at a low speed just so that nothing flies out. When you're mixing this together, you just want to make sure you thoroughly mix the butter and sugar so that none of the dry ingredients are left out. I find it easy if you spin the bowl while you're doing it to make sure that everything gets thoroughly mixed together. Some of the dough will remain in the mixers, but you can just leave that like that because it'll get mixed in after you add more of the ingredients. Now you're going to add 2 large eggs. Be careful not to get any of the shells in there. And then you're going to mix this up some more. Now this is going to start to get a lot more liquidy, and then once you add the dry ingredients after this, it'll become a lot more like a thick dough. Now that this is all mixed together, you want to slowly add the dry ingredients in a little bit at a time. Also, if you have one of those KitchenAid mixers, you can add that in while it's mixing it together for you. So once you see this start to mix together a little bit, you can stop the mixer again and then add the rest of your dry ingredients. And you'll mix this up again. If you prefer to add walnuts to your chocolate chip cookies, you may do so as well. We're going to add the chocolate chip cookies last, the chocolate chips to the cookie dough last so that they don't get broken up with the mixer. If you wish to add any walnuts or any other nuts, you're going to put those in last as well and stir those in with a spoon so that they don't get too crumbled. I like to mix it on high once most of the dough is mixed together, just to make sure in the final run that everything is completely combined. If you you need to, you can also take your spatula and scrape any of the dough or the ingredients off the sides of the bowl and continue mixing again after that. Now we're going to take the 1.5 cups of chocolate chips and mix those in. If you're a real chocolate lover, you can add more if you like. And I'll just use the same spatula, and you can just fold those in gently. Make sure you get them nice and mixed in. You can eject these from your mixer and you can scrape them off with the spatula, or like I like to do, you can lick them. Once you're finished with these, we're going to grab our cookie sheet. If you don't have a non-stick cookie sheet pan, then you can just put some spray on your cookie sheet to make sure that the ingredients don't stick to it. What I find is easiest to do also is take 2 large spoons and scoop out a mixture of the cookie dough, like a golf ball size, and use the other spoon to scrape it off on there. When you're placing these on the cookie sheet, you're going to want to do them about 1.5 inches apart from each other, because when they are baking in the oven, they will expand, and you don't want them to all run into each other and be one giant cookie. When you're finished doing this, you can fit usually about 12 of them on here, sometimes more if you have a large cookie sheet. Finish all these. Right now we're just going to make a small batch just so that you get the idea. They don't need to be perfect balls. Sometimes people like to use their hands and roll them up. You can do that as well. Just make sure your hands are clean before you do that. And now that we have our cookies on the sheet, you're going to take this and place it in the oven, again at 350 degrees. And you can place it on the top rack so they get nice and golden brown. You're going to set your timer for 8 minutes. They should cook between 8 and 10 minutes, but it's best to check them on the earlier side. You want to make sure the edges are nice and golden brown, but that the center doesn't look gooey at all. If it still does look a little bit gooey, just add another minute or 2 on there and check it. After that, grab a nice big tall glass of milk and enjoy your chocolate chip cookies.